In focus, the firing of Rex Tillerson as U.S. Secretary of State did not surprise many people in Washington, D.C. on this day, though a lot of folks in Congress and government were shocked by the manner in which it was carried out. The president seemed to go out of his way to keep Tillerson out of the loop. Perhaps it was apparent payback for the public and private clashes that have marked their relationship over the past year. I-24 News correspondent Derek Dennis reports.
White House officials say tensions between President Trump and Rex Tillerson reached a boiling point over the last week after intensifying for months. When speaking to reporters in Washington about Tillerson's ouster, President Trump said the two had a challenging relationship.
We got along actually quite well, but we disagreed on things.
Things like the Iran nuclear deal.
I wanted to either break it or do something, and he felt a little bit differently. So we were not really thinking the same.
In October 2017, there was speculation Tillerson was considering resigning, but he denied those reports.
The vice president has never had to persuade me to remain as Secretary of State because I have never considered leaving this post.
He's here. Rex is here.
Still, he did not deny reports he called Trump a moron.
Is it true? Did you call him a moron?
Jake, as I indicated earlier when I was asked about that, I'm not going to deal with that kind of petty stuff.
In November,
the White House has reportedly developed a plan to replace Secretary of State Rex Tillerson.
reports that Tillerson would be removed continue to surface. On Tuesday, a White House official told USA Today the timing of Tillerson's dismissal was designed to allow Trump to put a new team in place in advance of talks with North Korea. Tillerson, the former chief executive of ExxonMobil, disagreed with Trump on a number of issues. Trump signed an executive order pulling the U.S. from the Trans-Pacific Partnership.
I do not oppose TPP.
Tillerson also pushed the U.S. to stay in the Paris Climate Accord, which President Trump opted to pull out of last June, days after the president pulled the U.S. out of the effort to reduce global emissions. Tillerson said, "My view didn't change."
Please be seated.
Trump plans to nominate CIA Director Mike Pompeo to replace Tillerson.
With Mike, we've had a very good chemistry right from the beginning.
President Trump has selected the deputy director at the CIA, Gina Haspel, to succeed Pompeo as head of the agency. She would be the first woman to run the CIA. Both Haspel and Pompeo would need to be confirmed by the Senate. Derek Dennis, I-24 News.
President Trump's pick to lead the CIA does come with some controversy. Gina Haspel has been in the CIA since 1985, earning high-level awards throughout her career. But 16 years ago, Haspel reportedly ran a secret prison in Thailand where terrorism suspects were waterboarded and subjected to other forms of torture. Joining us now is Ryan Mauro, national security analyst with the Clarion Project. And Ryan, how controversial is Haspel going to be? How difficult will her confirmation be with the U.S. Senate because of this connection to alleged torture?
It'll be a fight, but keep in mind that Obama's CIA director, John Brennan, said that she has a great reputation or something to that effect among CIA personnel. So that's a quote you're going to be hearing coming up quite a lot in the coming weeks. So is it controversial? Yes, but for me as an analyst, I view the debate over torture to be essentially a moral argument and a bit of a sideshow. The bottom line here is that Trump is putting in a new team to reset his foreign policy, and the Trump administration operationally didn't really begin until now because it didn't include the State Department up until now.
How do you see this changing in terms of actual policy? I mean, we spoke in the last segment about perhaps scrapping the Iran nuclear deal. Does this change in terms of the relationship both with Russia and China as well?
Yes, I think so, because Tillerson was quite close to Putin, and a lot of Trump's critics pointed that out. Well, now you have Mike Pompeo in there, who is a known opponent of Putin. So that's a positive. That signals that the Trump administration is going to become tougher on that issue. But look at the background of Mike Pompeo and really how much Trump has personal chemistry with him, which is important, but also the fact that he reportedly expanded deep covert operations targeting the North Koreans as well as Iran. He empowered an individual whose name is not publicly known, but is nicknamed the Dark Prince because he is that type of James Bond figure that goes after the enemies of the United States, including Iran. So this signals a very big shift. And I also might add that Mike Pompeo is one of the voices inside the administration that called for designating the Muslim Brotherhood as a terrorist group. So that issue might come up again as well.
Well, regarding the issue of North Korea, and President Trump, of course, is expected to have this face-to-face meeting with Kim Jong-un within the next 2.5 months. Pompeo is on the record as saying that he believes very much in regime change, that ought to be the U.S. goal in all of this. Secretary Tillerson tried to make it very clear that no, the United States is not interested in regime change, which is, of course, going to be a big issue for Kim Jong-un if President Trump's foreign policy team now changes its focus. So does this perhaps implicate the possible success of these face-to-face talks?
Well, there's multiple angles to that. So Mike Pompeo favors regime change through internal revolution, destabilizing the North Korean regime. That helps bring them to the table. So even though Trump is not in favor of regime change as a policy towards really any country that I'm aware of, even though he said specific leaders should step down like Assad, there is a middle ground there where you use the tactics of destabilizing regimes in order to enhance your hands at the negotiating table and to get a better deal. Trump has reportedly said on numerous occasions that Tillerson was too weak. He wants someone stronger. So while the critics of the Trump administration say, and I think with some merit, that there's a risk that we are going to play into the hands of North Korea, that we're going to come off weak, well, that shows that what Trump wants to do is have an olive branch towards the North Koreans, try to get a deal, but at the same time, put a lot of pressure on them.
Ryan Mauro, national security analyst with the Clarion Project. Ryan, thanks for doing this. We appreciate it. Still to come in the Trump effect. In California, the president just toured some of the prototypes for his long-promised Mexico border wall. Plus, prosecutors say they will seek the death penalty for Nicholas Cruz, the Florida teenager who carried out last month's massacre at a Florida high school. And 1 in 10 New York City public school students do not have a place to call home. We will take a closer look ahead on Stateside.